pivot that down-ish. It bounces back. Just bear with me, guys. I think that's better. Little bit better, yes. It feels like you're a little bit wonky to me, as in, yeah, we're just going to adjust. I think it looks like I'm on a slant. I'm on the Titanic at the moment, sliding. That's better. Perfect.
Is that okay that way?
Yes, yeah, that's great. Thank you. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to a sew along. Oh, excuse me, my voice is going. Welcome to the first sew along of the ebook. I can see that people are filtering through, which is great. I'm so glad that you guys are joining me today. I know it's been quite, we did put this in the newsletter, but we weren't able to promote it as much because we've been promoting the ebook anyway. So I was a bit worried that there weren't going to be many people here, but that's great that you are all here. So yes, we are doing the first in the series of the sew-alongs that I'm doing for the ebook. So I'm here today, I'm here tomorrow, I'm here next week. I can't remember the days, but I'm here a lot. And we'll make sure that we update our sew-along page, because actually I thought, oh, I'll just promote it last night and then noticed it was out of date. So we will put them on there. Hi, Sal. So let's see who's joining us. I think I've just seen some nice names. Oh, hello from the Netherlands. Where are people joining from? Let's see how international we are today. Always lovely to see that. Oh, yeah, we've got Rosie, guys, answering your questions. If you Oh, hello in Sydney, Australia. Hello. Hello in Adelaide, Australia. Okay, we've got 3 people joining from Australia today. That's great. Hi, Fiona. Representing, guys. Very good representation there. Oh, lovely. Hello in Spain. Hi. Hi, Janet. Hi. Oh, lovely. Well, thank you guys for joining. Don't forget that if you are watching this live, then you can chat to each other as much as you want throughout this and enjoy catching up with your sewing friends or meeting new friends. Hi, New York. Hello. Oh, 2 people from New York. Good morning. Hope you're watching this with a nice cup of coffee. And if you have any questions, it's best to pop them in the chat and Rosie will answer them. I try and keep track of what's going on the chat, but it's very hard. And I think today might be a little bit harder because I'm going to be concentrating on what I'm doing. Yeah, do put any questions in there. So today we are sewing we're going to start sewing the Marilyn dress, which is what I'm wearing. And we've also got it on the mannequin here as well. So the Marilyn dress is one of the 5 patterns in the vintage ebook, which came out last week, which is very exciting. It's from the same collection of ebooks as the other one, so my capsule wardrobe, 5 patterns that will give you the themed wardrobe. So for this ebook, it's vintage, so 5 patterns that will give you a vintage wardrobe. But there are so many variations. There's actually over 20 variations, so there's a lot more than 5 patterns. So we are going to start with the Marilyn, and because I already have this beautiful Marilyn, I thought I would make a Marilyn top. So it does also come as a top, which unfortunately I don't have here to show you, but it basically is exactly the same bodice, and then there's an extra band that can turn it into a wrap that you tie. So that's what I'm going to make. Fabrics that you can see on screen at the moment, I should say, you've got the Midnight Roses, which is one of our fabrics, and I'm sure you'll get a link to that shortly. And then I can't remember what this one's called, something else roses. Anyone want to shout the name of this to me?
French rose.
French rose, amazing. So we'll pop links to that. And if you're watching this after the live, then we'll pop links in the description box so you guys can have a look at those fabrics. They are selling out fast, so don't leave it too late. Right, so I'm going to make a size 10. That's what I'm wearing now. So I always think that's helpful to know, and I often forget to say what size I'm making, but at the moment I'm roughly around a size 10 in sew over it sizes, so that's what I'm going to make. The Marilyn dress is brilliant for cottons, although you could make it in a viscose. It just wouldn't have the same structure, and it would be harder to kind of get that lovely lapel which I really love. So I'm making it in a cotton blend actually. This is a gingham that we do have, and I'm sure we'll put a link up to that as well. We've got it in navy as well, or we've got it in this black. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I've already interfaced my pieces, so we are starting off with interfaced pieces. So I have got the top collar interfaced and also the facing pieces interfaced. Don't think I've got my little back facing done, but I'm not going to be doing that at the moment, so that's fine. And we're going to start off by doing some stay stitching to prepare the little weak points, which you often do on revere collars, because you've got to strengthen those because they do get snipped into, and it's a weak point then in the fabric, so you need to make sure you secure that. So that's what we're going to be doing. I'm hoping that we'll get quite close to finished by the end of tomorrow. I'm not sure, it might be a bit keen bean, but we'll see how we get on. So starting off then, let's take the front bodice pieces and let's do that. So there's a circle that marks in that corner, and we're going to do 2-3 centimeters above that, so an inch above that, and down across like that, so pivoting where the circle is. I'm just wondering if my screen, my camera's a bit blurry. Do I need to just quickly clean that? Excuse me, guys. You'll notice that I have got paint on my hands, and I've also got paint on my phone, which I'm using to stream with. So I was painting yesterday and I can't get it off. I need to get a scourer out and really take it off. So it might be that there was a paint splodge there. That would be good, wouldn't it? Right, so stay stitching. I'm just going to pop it onto slightly longer stitch length than which is what I would use for a normal seam allowance. So just under 3 for stitch length. I'm going to start 2-3 centimeters above that circle, and the seam allowance on the neckline, I assume that where the dot, it's going to be 1.5, because that's where the dot is. So if you kind of can position it with the 5/8 of an inch, 1.5 on your machine, then you're going to start at the right distance. Just be slightly less than that, because you don't want that to show through. And then needle in, lift up, a pivot around, and then just do 2-3 centimeters this way. So what that's doing is that's strengthening that edge and that point when we come in to snip into it to get the collar on. So it's really important that we do that. And then we'll do the same on this one. I've lost it's on that side. I've not chosen a good fabric for right side, wrong side. That's annoying. I always think that's harder for you guys to then see what I'm doing. It was a selfish choice because I thought I really want one of these in gingham. I'm also trying to make examples of the patterns in slightly less vintagey fabrics, so that you can see how, even though it's the vintage ebook, they're very wearable and very everyday. Because the beauty of the vintage kind of things, especially the things I love, is they're fun. I think they're timeless. They're classic and timeless. So they look good regardless of what era we're in. Modern day is fine too. So I've just got the facing pieces to do the same on, because they're also going to need that strengthening. So again, just 2-3 centimeters and pivoting at circle. I've got dressed up for you guys today. Got the beehive. The beehive is back. It's almost like, and I definitely did not think this through, I mean, we did decide on doing this vintage ebook 2 years ago, but it's almost like I've grown my hair specially for the launch of the ebook so that we could could have a beehive. But I just decided to start growing my hair again, partly because in the pandemic it just kept being so hard to get my hair cut, so it's just easier having long hair, because you can just, if it needs cutting, you can just tie it up. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, I have to say, I am loving going back to the original look that I had when I launched Sew Over It, and enjoying a bit of the vintage vibes again. Right, okay, as always, got stupid scissors for cutting my snips. I've got our amazing big fabric scissors for cutting my thread, sorry. So that's fine. If you can hear any noises, guys, just so you know, it's just the team working, getting your orders out for the ebook. As we're very busy, as you can imagine, so we're getting those orders out to you. So that's what it is. It's not a mic problem. It's just some rustlings of paper and packages. Okay. Trim these off. Da-da-da. Da-da-da. Right, we're easing ourselves in with this one, guys, because what we're going to do now is we're going to do some darts. Nothing like darts. Now, I've just realised I do not have with me a ruler. Any chance someone could bring me a ruler? Thank you. So we've got, in the front bodice, we've got darts here, and we've got darts here. So it's actually, because obviously we're fitted into here, so we've got darts here and darts across the other bust. So 2 darts. And we've also got darts in the back to make it super fitted in the shoulders and also down towards the waist. So, okay, here we go. It's all right, I've got lots of pinning to do. Oh, a meter stick. Right, this is hilarious. Okay, let's improvise. Let me see the 2 and show them what your posters are include. So this is what Rosie's just passed me as a really great tool to mark your darts, a meter stick. I'm going to opt for a laminated piece of card instead. I think that's easier. I don't know why we can't find our pattermasters. No. It's fine. It's ebook chaos. Oh. You don't want to give me a brand new one though. No, don't. It's fine. I can manage. I need this one. Oh, brilliant. This is what we would recommend you use. Not a meter stick. I'm going to put that to one side. That would be hilarious. I've used a book before, a hardback book. Whatever I have to hand. Okay, so I'm just making sure my notches of that dart are together. Finding the point of the dart. Popping a pin in there. And then in the middle as well. So I've sort of pinned that into position. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same at the bottom. So let's get some ebook chat going. What do you guys all want to make first? Who's making what first from the ebook? Those of you that have bought it. I can't find my blooming. What have I done here? Whilst I find my other circle. At the top of my dart. Maybe I've used the wrong one there. What's that? I did mark them on before, but for whatever reason he's already disappeared. It's annoying. I'm just going to get that up again. Mark that in again. Oh no, it's there. See, it's there. I just couldn't see it. It was on the black part of the check. There might be a little bit of a delay here. I'm not seeing anything. Maybe no one's making anything. Or maybe no one's in just... Maybe you haven't decided yet what you're going to do first. Oh, here we go. Marilyn gathered skirt and Marilyn blouse. Ooh, yes. I'd like to make a Marilyn gathered skirt. And we've got this gorgeous fabric that hasn't actually sold yet. I'm going to... I want to show you, actually. It's really lovely. We haven't sold out of it. And I just think it would be amazing for a Marilyn summer skirt. Quite fit 50s, I think. I want to make one out of that, like a gathered skirt. I think that looked really nice. I'm also really into that blue at the moment. So, yeah, on my list too. I don't know if I've missed any other ones there. Keep them coming, guys. Any ideas? Also, what kind of hacks you might be already thinking of doing. It's always really fun to hear what hacks people do and how they mix it up. Okay, so, oh no, I don't know why I'm using that. I don't need to. Take your pattern master. Mark from the notch to the point of the dart where the circle is. We'll just draw that in. Ooh, you're going to make it out of a navy chambray. Oh, that would be nice. Yes, very wearable as well. And we'll go with everything then, won't it, in your wardrobe? It's a great thing about chambray. Really, a denim-y chambray. Plain. It goes with everything. Hi. Oh, you're at work. Oh, no. Hi, Noelia. How are you? People are probably back in the offices now. Is it a headphone jobby and pretending that you're doing some emails? Oops. Okay. Oh, I think we've just just got the link up there for that fabric. It is lovely. I can just see that with some brown tan sandals and a little white top. Very, very nice. Okay, so I've marked one dart. Let's keep going. I've got a lot of darts to mark. I've also got my eyes on more Vera tops as well, because I feel like they're very wearable with jeans and things. I think I'll wear them a lot. Because I've got all these wonderful samples of like really beautiful dresses now, I feel like I've got the dresses sorted. I want to kind of make some more things that are a bit more everyday. I'm gonna again and mark the one side. Where is it? There it is. There it is. One thing just to be careful of when you are doing a darts, and you've got a fabric that's right side and wrong side, just make sure that you sorry guys, sorry, I know you need to chat, just whisper a little bit. I can't hear otherwise, sorry. So yeah, you've got to just make sure that you're not accidentally doing two left sides or two right sides. So just make sure that you're doing that, because it's very easy. You should have marked them the right way, so it should be okay, but just check, because that could be a very easy mistake to make. Ta-da! Marking another one. Oh, you're working through COVID. Oh dear, sorry to hear that. I didn't see the rest of the message, but sorry to hear that. Hope you're not feeling too rough with it. Doo-doo-doo. Okay, sorry, it's a bit boring this bit, guys. It's a bit boring. What I tend to do at home with my cutting out and my darts is, if I'm really organised, what I like to do is cut out, do all my notches, do all my interfacing, and then mark all my darts. And so then the next day I'm straight into sewing. So I think otherwise you sort of lose that momentum a bit. You're like, oh yeah, I'm really up for doing some sewing, and then you end up just doing loads of marking and it's a bit boring. Anyway, that's the two front ones done. So next we've got to do the back, and there's 4 in the back as well. So we've got those ones in the shoulder. So you often have darts in, if you want to make it really fitted and also sitting with a collar like this, that will help with that. So you do also find darts in coats at this point here, if you want to have, you've got, you know, a really fitted here as well. It's really nice to have that. So the more darts you have, the easier it is to actually fit to you as well. Although obviously darts sometimes are a bit of a pain because they interrupt the fabric pattern, but that's definitely, it makes it easier for fitting. Why have I used blue and I can barely see it on the black? There we go. One there. Now next week on one of the sew-alongs that I'm doing is going to be on, where's that? It's going to be on Thursday the 12th, and that is the day that we are doing our big sew-off. And we have had some emails from people saying, oh, it sounds great, how can I get involved? So I want to apologise if I've not made it clear of how you guys can get involved. But what you could do is sew with us. So you know, obviously we can't have everybody sewing in London. We've only got space for a few of us. But we're going to have a live stream going on all the time on YouTube. And then we'll be switching to a proper sew-along, one of these, on the day at 1 o'clock. But we will be sewing there from that space, and because there'll be a live feed plus lots of different kind of Instagram live chats and things as we're sewing, you guys could just sew with us at home, and what you sew you could sell to a friend or a neighbour, and then you could donate that fabric to the main pot on our bigsewoff.com site. So that's how you can get involved. You could also get involved by just watching, enjoying the sewing. I will be sewing for 24 hours straight from 10 AM to 10 AM the next day, and the Sew Over It team will be doing a relay, so they'll be kind of passing the sewing baton and sewing for 24 hours, and there will be some other people also joining us. So Elisa Lex from By Hand London and some of the Sewing Bee people will be joining us in our hub. So there'll be lots of exciting things going on to watch and tune in, and you can just tune in whenever and just almost have the live feed on there, kind of just seeing how we're getting on. And as we finish making things, they're then going to get photographed and put up on eBay and auctioned then. So we'll be talking about that throughout the day. So the live auction of all the things that we're making and sewing will be happening, and then everything that we make, whether it's from a donation or whether it's from selling one of the dresses that we've made, or that will all go to the charity Mind. So you can join in from home. And you know, you could, if you want to, maybe just, you know, oh, I don't know if I can make anything that I want to sell, but you just want to join in and have a sew with us, and then maybe, you know, you can donate something to the cause, and support us in that way. So I really think it's going to be a really special day. Pop it in your diaries, and there will be basically 24 hours of sewing. So wherever you are in the world, you'll be able to tune in to that live feed on YouTube, and there will be sewing happening. There may be sleeping happening. We've just been talking about it here in the office, very exciting, about all the things we're going to need and making sure that we've got good supplies and blah blah blah, but also air beds, because the Sew Over It team are going to stay there the whole time but won't be sewing the whole time, so they're going to be sleeping in shifts, and so we're going to have little beds made up. We'll make sure on one of our lives we'll do a full tour of the space, so you're not just going to see, you can see how we've got it all set up, so it feels like you're there with us. That's the main thing that we want to do. We want to make it possible for everyone to feel like you're there with us, sewing with us, and we want this to be an annual thing. Every year in May we want to do this big event where we have a big sew off and get as many people as possible to raise money through sewing for the charity Mind. So reason why we chose Mind is that we've heard so much over the past few years that so many people found that sewing really helped their mental health through the pandemic. So it feels like a really good cause to be raising money for. Sewing helped us, and now we can help back. Okay, I've got one more dart to do, and then we're done. Then we can actually do some sewing. Here we go. I'm very annoyed at the moment, not annoyed, but I basically, the launch of the ebook, and I always have red nails usually. And what are my nails like at the moment? They are glitter. It looks like I've been attacked by Frozen. This is because I went to the nail shop with Jasmine a weekend before last, and she got some glitter nail varnish and put on. They're very sweet. Like when I go there with them, they'll put a little bit of polish on her nails, and she wanted us desperately to have matching nails, so I caved, but never again, because I look down at them all the time and it doesn't feel like me. I have to say though, the glitter shellac definitely lasts longer than the regular one. There we go. Done. Right, we're going to sew now. Boom. So I should have said I've chosen black thread. Obviously this is a black and white fabric. So essentially you could use white, but I always think it's something like gingham or best to go dark. I think it looks better. I think white can look a bit sort of cheaper, a little bit naffer on a dark fabric, or it makes a bit more of a statement. So, okay. Right, here we go guys. So we're at the start of the dart. We're going to make sure we reverse at the start. That is what we do. To secure that, have the line that you drew with the pen feed through the middle of the presser foot. That's what you're following. And then we're going to come off the end, and we're not going to reverse. So we get a really fine point at the end of the dart. Whoosh, so pull it out. And then I always tie my knots as I go, if I remember. It's much easier using a pin to push that dart and that knot down to the fabric. And let's just cut them off as we go, so then it's done. It's quicker to do it this way, otherwise you've got to keep finding all the threads, and just do it as you go. 1 down, 7 to go. A lot of dart sewing. It's a nice little one to ease you in. I often find that most sewing patterns, most of the first bit of sewing is often easy sewing. because you've got to get the basic things together or the basic things in before you tackle the tricky bits. So I always think it's a bit like a warm-up. It's like doing the warm-up in an exercise class. And you're like, oh, I wish the level would stay at this the whole time. Okay, it's another one. And there we go. I also want to do a bit of a shout out to our amazing pattern insiders, as over the weekend we have seen some incredible makes, and so many makes from the ebook popping up on the hashtags. So really already those hashtags from the ebook are being populated, and they're basically hashtag SOI and then the name of the pattern, and you'll be able to see other versions already. Amazing. They are brilliant, our pattern insiders. And our pattern insiders, in case you don't know who they are very kind people, sewers that volunteer to sew our patterns before they're released, to check that they work and there aren't any issues with them. Yeah, very, very grateful for them. Oh, bothering. It just unthreaded. It just unthreaded. So I felt rather over the top this morning, going to the school gates with my beehive and my lipstick and everything on. Sort of wish that I had done it when I got to work. Felt a bit over the top. Too glamorous for a school drop-off this morning. I remember that once though. I once remember wearing my red lipstick at a different to Jasmine's nursery, and getting a couple of looks from the mums, feeling really uncomfortable about it, so not doing it again. But oh, do you? Exactly, yes, sorry. Yes, Sal, just like, yeah, testers of a game, exactly. That must be a nice job if you're into gaming. Have I done them all? No, I've just done 4. We're halfway through. Halfway through. Here we go. I wouldn't worry. No, I know, I shouldn't worry. It's one of those things, it's like, you know, it's on those days when you're feeling a bit self-conscious, you do. And then other days you think, it's fine, this is who I am. I wear red lipstick a lot. Coming off in a second. There we go. Oh, there's 77 of you joining. Oh, that's wonderful. Great. That's amazing. Oh, so nice to see so many of you joining in. So, is anybody sewing anything? Anyone doing any sewing? Oh, that's very kind of you. Yeah. Who's doing some sewing at the moment? Let's get the chat back onto sewing. Is anyone sewing with us or cutting out? Is anyone? And it doesn't need to be obviously what I'm doing here. It could be anything. What are you working on at the moment? Or maybe I'm going through receipts. Oh dear Sarah. Oh, I hope I don't make you make a mistake going through them. It's one of those jobs that you can probably do whilst doing something else. Someone else having the coffee because it's too early. Oh, you made a Penny and an Eve last week. Oh my goodness, that's a lot. That's a lot. Ooh. Lovely. 2 things. Me a Nip mode dress. I don't know what that is. Oh, great. Oh, a Soraya jacket. Oh, lots of sewing for that. Lots of top stitching. Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Oh, lovely mustard, Fiona. Nice. Love a bit of mustard. Oh, I'm glad to see you all got lots of sewing plans there on the go. I have to say, this is the first, you know, I'm really quite excited about my wardrobe this spring, summer, because this is the first time that we've kind of got lots of things in the diary. I know I've actually got weddings to go to, and I've got, you know, nice things to go to that I can make things for. So it really does feel more exciting to be sewing again for that. Obviously sewing was lovely because it gave us something to do in the pandemic, but I felt like I had all these things and I didn't really want to, oh, it's a Dutch sewing magazine. Oh, thank you. I didn't, yeah, have much to, you know, where was I going to wear the clothes to? So, yeah. Ooh, just finishing an Annie. Oh, very nice. Annie is the blouse that you get for free if you join up to our mailing list. It's a nice little classic-y blouse with an elastic detail. Okay. I'm just going to knock that off. I think I've only got 2 more left now. That's good. Thanks for keeping me company whilst I'm sewing. So for the big sew off, I've decided that I'm just going to stick to 2 patterns and sew them a lot, as many as I can do. I thought I might make 10 dresses, but 10 dresses in 24 hours, I'm not sure if I will. That's all obviously being cut out. But I'm going to, maybe 8 dresses is more realistic, but I'm going to make Betty's and Eve's, and I'm going to make them in a range of sizes. So I'm basically just going to work through the size range and do, you know, make sure I do some of everything so that we're not just doing a certain size, because then that means that, you know, very few people will be able to buy the dresses. So, okay, we have finally done all of the darts, so now we can do some pressing. How are we doing for time? 32 minutes. Okay, that's great. So I'm going to press the darts. I don't know if you can see, I've got the overlocker there blocking my ironing board. I'm going to press the darts, and I'm going to press them towards the, oh, thank you. I'm about to knock that off. Yeah, thanks. I'm about to knock a massive box of buttons off a shelf by my feet. Thanks, Chloe. So I'm going to press the waist darts towards the side seams, and the bust darts are going down towards the waist. Let's turn this up. Okay. Context. That's, there we go, that's what that is. Oops, burn myself, lovely. And the next 2. Oops, excuse me. Oh gosh, don't burn your hair, Lisa, on the iron. It'll be another sew-along disaster. Lisa burns her beehive on the iron. Oops. So I'm just on the back now, and again everything's just going towards the side seams. Little shoulder darts are going towards the armholes. Okay. Right, I think we're on to joining up sizing. I'm just going to check I don't skip something. Yep, we're doing the shoulder seams. That's what we're going to do next, and then we're going to move on to the collar. So, take your back piece, place it right side up on the table, and I don't know what I've done. I think I've ironed that with far too hot a heat. It's now crinkled. Oops. And then place one of the front bodice pieces right sides down onto that. And then we're just going to pin that in place, and be careful when you get to that dart on the back shoulder that you're pinning that towards the armhole in the direction that you ironed it. Oh, we've got now 92 people. 91, someone just left. Oh, people must be joining as their lunch breaks are starting, or if they're waking up. Those of you in Australia, thank you. I know it must be quite late there now, I guess depending on which side of Australia you're on, but it must be quite late. You might be in bed. A cup of herbal tea. I do love that, how we're all doing very things. You know, anyone here in the UK or Europe, we're talking about lunch. Anyone in the US, they're just waking up and it's far too early to sew. And then in Australia, you guys are getting ready for bed. So we are now going to, bye, thank you for joining us. We're now going to sew the shoulder seams. So 1.5 centimetres, 5/8 of an inch. We do a little reverse at the beginning. There we go. Take the pins out as you come to them. I feel like these nails are like diamonds. They're not gonna, I wouldn't, the needle would break. It wouldn't even go close to sewing through them. I'm not gonna risk it. It's a bit like having armour on your nails. Very hard. Voila. I've already got a bodice, guys. I'm on it. Look, see? It's already, I just twisted that. Anyone new watching this is new to sewing, this is what we're doing. And it doesn't look like that, but if you fold that back like that, because that's how it will go when the facing's on, you can already start to see the shape. And I think that's really important when you're new to dressmaking, that you start to kind of see how it's coming together. Otherwise it feels like for a long, long time you're just sewing and it doesn't look anything like a garment, because you can't visualize it, because you're not used to seeing that. Now I think we need to do some, we need to finish those seams. So I've got my overlocker here, which I haven't had an overlocker in a sew along for a while, but I thought this would be this. So I've got my overlocker here, and I'm going to find that overlocker pedal. Here it is. Oh no, it's not actually going on the floor. Come on, mister, I can't use you from thin air. And I'm just going to overlock these edges together, and then we're going to press them towards the back. There we go. Done, and we're going to trim those off. 1 and a 2, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. I found more inappropriate scissors, so I'm cutting them off. And now I'm going to press those seams towards the back, and then we're going to go on to the collar. Okay, so I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to get my collar pieces. So Okay, so just stitching the shorter edges and down the long edges, yes. So I've got my collar pieces, so you've got two collar pieces, you'll have an under collar and a top collar. And the reason why you have those is usually the under collar is just slightly smaller, and then what that means is it curls the top collar over so you don't get the seam there. You kind of brings it underneath, so and you usually interface the top collar so it's nice and crisp, and the under collar doesn't need to be. The under collar is essentially just like bagging it out, it's just to make it neat, but you want the sort of sharpness and the structure of the interfacing in the top collar. So we're going to place them right sides together, and we're going to pin from the lower short side. So if I hold it up, we're going to pin those bottom bits and down along here, along the curved bit. Okay? We sell a really soft interfacing. I am known for disliking interfacing and making lots of things without it, but since I discovered this really, really soft filing interfacing, I can get on board with it, because I cannot stand that papery stuff that makes things too rigid and you lose the fluidity of the fabric. But this is really nice soft stuff, so it doesn't kind of fight with the weight too much of the fabric that you're using. And obviously you want it to add a bit more structure, but not too much, because then it can just look awful and cardboardy. So this is really good. Oh, my tummy started rumbling. Ooh. Right, can you see that? So what we're going to do now is going to sew down, around and up, and I need to check that seam allowance is a centimetre or not. It is. Because usually on a collar and a neckline we're going to have that, so it's a centimetre seam allowance, okay? Oh, this is hovering in the way. I've got so many leads here, it's a bit of a health and safety nightmare. Okay, as you come to the first corner, the bottom to come round, just put your needle in, pivot. So you want to stop a centimetre before the end there, 3/8 of an inch if you're in imperial, and then follow that round. Pins out as we go. Okay, so coming to the next corner now, so we need to do the same. Pivot, needle in, pivoty pivot, and around and down we go. There we go, done. I'll just trim those off. Obviously did a nice reverse at the beginning and at the end of that seam. And I think we will need to Yep, we're going to do some machine tacking. Okay. So we are going to turn this the right way through. Like so. We have got a really nice, there's a very clever little way to get a nice, where you fold it to get it a nice tip, which is a really good little thing. We've got it on Stitch School. It's not really worth me showing you it because it's so hard to explain without you being able to see. If you want a really sharp point, there's a way that you can fold the seam allowance and pull it through so that you get a sharp point in the collar. I'm sort of kind of half, roughly doing it. So fold it over, sort of the seam allowance, you pinch it and then you flip it through. So then what we're going to do on the iron is we are going to press it so that the under collar, so that the seam rolls over to the under collar. So that means that it will then, the seam won't be shown, won't be seen. The seam won't be seen from the right side. So It's a bit of a funny angle this, but I'm going to try my best. So what I tend to do, and that's a bit gross, but I tend to make my fingers a little bit damp so that I can then rip and roll that seam. So I'm rolling it. I'm working from the that thing actually, it's not gone through as nice as I want it to. I'm working from the undercollar side. And then just rolling that. Just before we went live, Rosie and I just realised it was our birthday, day before yesterday. So over it is officially 11. We basically, it's on the 2nd of May, and every year I forget. I mean, last year we didn't because we were doing a lot of talking about the fact that we were 10, which is a massive milestone to get to as a business, because you know, so many businesses fail in the first year, the 3rd year, the 5th year, and then 10 years. So anyway, but yeah, so I feel a bit bad that I didn't take a moment to reflect on that, so I'm going to try and do that today. It feels great that our ebook, our 3rd, 4th ebook came out around our birthday. Okay, so that is now pressed, and thanks Sal. That's now pressed, and the seam is on the undercollar. You can't see it, I don't know if you can see it there, but it's on the undercollar side. So I think now we're going to machine tack, and I'm just going to see if it's worth me kind of continuing too much more. Machine tack in place, yeah, the rest of the neckline edges, so we're going to do that. And then the seam allowance, marking the seam allowance on the edges. Okay, so we could do that together, and then we might get to a good point because we've not got loads of time left. So let's do that. I'm just going to trim my interfacing because it's just stretched. Sometimes what happens when you press and handle, it will just stretch and, a bit, but that's fine. Okay, so just bear with me, sorry guys. Starting at the wrong place. Centimetre. So all the edges basically that we haven't sewn, so we need to sew those with a machine tack, and that needs to be under the 1 centimetre seam allowance. So pop your stitch length up to the longest it goes. And then make sure you're sewing under. I mean, obviously you can unpick this, that's why we machine tack it, but you don't have to, and it's another job you don't have to do if you just do it under the seam allowance. I'm all for saving jobs like unpicking, if I can. It's just tedious. I'm now thinking it's probably a bit of a keen bean to be like, oh, we're going to nearly finish it in 2 sessions. This is not a 2-hour make, but anyway, we'll get as far as we can. So that's now machine tacked in place. So now what we're going to do is we're going to mark the seam allowance on the edges, so the corners here. So that's just looking at that. So it's this point here. We've got to mark the seam allowance because that will help us when we're putting the collar in. So I'm just going to use a pattern master because that's really helpful. If I can get it off the floor. These are the wonderful extra little tips that Nicole puts in. I always just think it's great. All those little extra help in the instructions just to make it that much easier for you. So we are going about 2 centimetres or so down the little shorter end there where we've just machine tacked, and then a little bit longer, maybe about 4 centimetres along the collar, so the neckline. So I've just done there and there. Okay, I'm just going to do that there, a couple of centimetres, and then round here. Okay, how are we doing for time? We're probably, I think, I'm not sure. Do I want to see if we can try and pin this on? We've got 10 minutes. Let's see. We could pin it on. Okay, so we could pin it on and then we'll stop there. So what we're going to do is take your bodice, place that right sides down, move that out of the way. Okay, and make sure that that's right sides together. Now you've got some notches in your neckline. Just make sure you rip them back in again, because they will help you with positioning to the shoulder seams, the centre back, etc., etc. So the what am I saying? The under collar. So we're going. This is right sides facing up, and then we're placing this collar, under collar, down onto the right side of the blouse, so that you have the upper collar, the top collar is facing you. And we've got a little notch there to match up with the shoulder seam. So on either side of the collar there's a notch, and one also at the centre back. Okay, and then we have got the circle point, the circle point that we've got. Now the circle we can match, because we did our pen line on the edge there, we can put a pin through the point of the corner and make sure that that is going to hit there. It will need to be cut, that, so that you can pivot it round, but I'm not going to cut that until I start sewing it. But basically that pivot point, let me show you. So what's going to happen, we're going to come down here, we've got the pin in there at the pivot point, and we will need to snip. Once we've done that, if you snip into there, then you can pivot that round and you finish the rest of it. And so that's why that needs to be a bit of a strengthened point. I think that's a good point to stop, guys, because tomorrow we will just pick up with this. Okay, and I'm going to give you context again of how far we've got. So the collar is coming on. The rest of the revers is finished when you do the facing. So I think realistically we're going to get the facing on. We're going to get the side seams done maybe. We could sew a sleeve, or we might get the start of the waistband on. But that's where we'll try and get to tomorrow. So I'll be back here tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So tune in for that, and obviously, like all of our lives, they go up on our feed, so if you can't tune in, then it will just go up automatically on the feed and you can watch it later, or re-watch it if you're making it at a later point. Thanks so much for joining. Hi Laurie, I'm sorry you missed us, and I hope you all have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.